All right, what is up, everybody? Welcome into today's edition of In the Game. I am your host, Hustle, and as always, we will be diving into the landscape of NFT gaming, and I'm super excited to have one of the top ecosystems across all of Web3 gaming, Myria, joining me today, as Brendan, the co-founder of Myria and the head of blockchain, will be joining me. We're going to go top to bottom on the platform, and we're really just going to look into why games are flocking to the platform left and right, and exactly their vision for the future of crypto gaming. We'll also take questions at the end if you want to drop some questions in the chat box. So as always, let's get in the game.
T-minus 15 seconds. Guidance is internal. 12, 11, 10, 9. Ignition sequence start. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know we gon' play, but ain't a percent. If you ain't here to hustle, why is you here? But if you here to hustle, the moon is near. It's crypto Banter, not financial advice. If you don't listen, what's the cost, what's the price? This ain't a game, put you on game. I know we gon' play, but ain't a play. If you get lost, show you the way.
All right, and let's jump right into it. Be sure to like the video if you enjoy the video, and if you get value out of the show, if you are bullish on Myria, as well as subscribe to the channel for crypto videos here every single day on the Crypto Banter channel. And remember, this is a sponsored show by Myria, the official sponsor of the In the Game show. And let's go ahead and bring on Brendan from Myria. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thanks for having me. Awesome to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm super stoked about everything you guys have going on. I know it's super busy, whenever I try to talk with the team, it's like, y'all are so busy, so hectic over there, and so exciting to be able to, talk to you about the platform. So thanks for joining me and taking some time out. If you want to just briefly introduce yourself, what you do with Myria, as well as maybe just give Myria a brief introduction as well for those who might not be familiar with the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. So as you said, I'm Brendan. I'm one of the co-founders at Myria and the head of blockchain. I'm head of blockchain because that's what I've done for the last 10 years. So I'm a little bit new professionally anyway to the gaming side. But as I'm sure we'll get into in much more detail, I think gaming is the use case, especially when it comes to the buzzword of mass adoption. I think this is really going to be it. So my role at Myria is basically running the engineering team as it relates to our blockchain product. The other side of our engineering team is both the game side as well as our offering to make it as easy as possible for other games to use our blockchain stuff. And my focus is really on the blockchain. Just a quick word about kind of what Myria is, as you suggested, would be helpful, I think, to say a word about what Myria was. So we originally, a year and a half ago when this project was pitched to me and I joined as a co-founder, had the thesis that we needed to do blockchain games, but better. Basically, we wanted to come up with fun games that people wanted to play, and then, hey, look, there's a blockchain component sort of attached to the side. And so I was brought in to essentially do the plumbing for that, allow our internal games to connect to a scalable blockchain solution, right? What we decided very quickly after that was what we were building for our own internal games was, of course, going to be applicable for other games as well. And so that's where the platform idea has come from. And now we have what we think is the single best scaling platform out there for games which are trying to connect into Web3.
Yeah, it's fantastic. And I think, it speaks for itself what you've already put together on the platform. Based on in it, y'all were building in stealth for a while, and what's already been built, what's already being pushed forward is super impressive to see. So we'll dive into that at the kind of middle, like the meat of the show, as we'll say. We'll get into everything regarding, the team's history, the platform and everything. But really quickly, just speaking on the industry before we dive headfirst into Myria, what are your thoughts? How far do you see NFT gaming? You jumped into this from whatever traditional route so many of us come from, right? Whether it's esports, finance, development, tech, software, but you get into this NFT gaming sector. What made you see this as that path and that, as you said, the use case, as you said, for NFTs potentially?
Yeah, so I wish I had sort of one aha, eureka, Apple hit me on the head moment. That would be a better story to tell. But 10 years in the space, those moments happen less and less often now. But what really did it for me was that over the decade that I've been working in blockchain, I've come up with what is sort of an internal system I use to evaluate whether a use case, a vertical, is going to be helped majorly in the future by blockchain. And I think the primary, and I'll just explain that really briefly. And I think as I explain it, it will be very obvious why I think gaming is the use case, as I said, for mass adoption. So I think the first question you always want to ask with a potential blockchain use case is, are there even mutually distrusting parties that want to engage in some value transfer between each other? Because that's question number one. If everybody trusts each other, then you don't use a blockchain, full stop, right? Fine. But then the second question is there a party, is there a jurisdiction, is there a mechanism generally that these mutually distrusting parties could already use and maybe already do use to do this value transfer? So you think about capital markets, for example. Most of the world, as it turns out right now, is fairly comfortable, in fact, with using the United States as a common jurisdiction to do a lot of the capital market stuff, right? That's fine. You have other use cases, obviously real estate. Similarly, a lot of people just are fine with the jurisdictions they're in, and that's okay. And then I think the sort of last thing is, are there any major, and this one I've just started to kind of put my finger on, I think it's really important. Are there any major kind of externalities that existing authorities would be really upset about if this value transfer, if these transactions, which could happen, were to begin happening, right? So obviously, like illicit trading could be a very good use case for blockchain, but as soon as that starts happening, all of the authorities clamp down on it. That's not so with gaming at all, right? It's actually a very sort of risk enclosed space, meaning that you can do a lot of this stuff without any real externalities. And I think that's going to be a big component to why gaming especially will be able to make huge strides without sort of regulatory behemoths cracking down on it. So that's a big thing. And then obviously the last two, are there mutually distrusting parties in gaming? Of course. It's an international market by its very nature. You're playing with people from all over the world always. There's not a single jurisdiction that you would use. Importantly, there's no incumbency. Like the idea of ownership in games is a relatively new concept. And the idea of ownership in games across games and exchanging this value that you really own yourself is literally brand new. And so it's not as if you're fighting against the NASDAQ as you are in capital markets, or these existing laws that have existed for, I was in trade finance before, potentially 400, 500 years. We're using Venetian laws that were come up with in the 16th century in trade finance. Like we don't have that here. So it's a greenfield. And those other criteria that I mentioned are met perfectly. So I hope that's not too philosophical, but that's really what I think and why gaming is it, honestly.
Yeah, I don't think it's too philosophical at all. I actually think that that's a very unique answer. I mean, I think that's an answer that I probably have never gotten before. So that's
good. That's good. I mean, it's not, as I said, it's not the Apple. Yeah, it's not the Apple fell and hit me on the head. It's really like systemically, I've looked at over the years what use cases are best for these reasons, and gaming is just so obviously something that lacks this infrastructure, and blockchain is obviously going to be what fills that gap.
And there's already stuff that has started to do it in like those Web 2 formats, right? We've seen it over the time. CSGO skins, people selling World of Warcraft accounts, RuneScape accounts, like that has always been a thing, but it's never like had the technology to be able to do it in-house, right? These games haven't directly sourced the skin sales. They've always been off-market, black market, as you would kind of call it, type of skin distribution, and like escrow websites, password for money, and then the service would exchange them for the user type of thing.
I've seen it.
Not the most trustless platform, I would say, right? So I think blockchain definitely solves a lot of those issues, and I love that answer. I think that was very unique. And let's dive in. So obviously there's a lot of finance history, right? The brains behind Myria. Can we talk about a little bit about like the background of the team? Because I think that answer right there, and there's obviously people that are more privy to the tech. There's more people that are privy to the games. Like, let's talk about like the well-rounded nature of the team as we see here. You know, people from Goldman Sachs, Riot Games, Ubisoft. I mean, speaking with some of the team and then hearing that answer from you, it really shows how well-rounded of a business core you guys are. Speak a little bit on the team that came together to put this together.
Yeah, definitely. So I'll circle around with the other co-founders first, and then I'll say a few more words about my background, which I've already spoken to in some ways. So our CTO and one of my co-founders was the director of technology at Ubisoft for a long time in Southeast Asia specifically. And then my other two co-founders are serial entrepreneurs, which have built very successful startups in other industries, including gaming. And then myself, as I said, I've been in blockchain for 10 years and have sort of seen it all. My first days were basically just spending time because I was very lucky to live 10 minutes away in high school at the MIT Bitcoin Club meetings. So it's basically just a few of us nerds around a whiteboard talking about how Bitcoin was one day going to take down the nation state, and that's sort of where I cut my teeth, which I think is cool now because it wasn't applicable for a long time, and then all of a sudden it was very applicable, and it was a career which I never intended, but because I sort of got in it as a student, I have this sort of maybe not philosophical, but ideological bend to how I analyze crypto and its happenings, and I think that's going to be really helpful as we're trying to be a leader in the space, not just to provide solutions for what our partners and our own internal games are coming up with right now, but also trying to be the sort of drivers of new ideas and new concepts and everything else. So I really hope that my background will be able to see the bigger picture on some of these things.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's fantastic. And let's kind of just get into the platform, obviously. I think now, a lot of things going on, and, with the scalability, L2, let's talk a little bit about the technology. What are you guys looking to bring to the table for people who don't know exactly the intricacies and how the marketplace works? Because whenever I've used the marketplace already, it's super smooth, very easy. It's not too in your face, it's, connect wallet in the top right, it says, but it's nothing like, all this different foreign language type of stuff. So talk about a little about the technology and then the marketplace.
Yeah, definitely. So from a tech standpoint, the L2 that we launched last month, and already have 200 games signed up.
Congratulations. That's huge.
Which is
by the
pretty
way.
awesome in 1
landmark.
month. I like to think. Yeah, so our BD team has been working really hard. But what that L2 that we launched last month is an Ethereum ZK rollup using Starkware's StarkX technology. So a couple of things about that. We obviously had the decision to make when we started creating the plumbing, as I've been calling it, creating our platform to go down the sort of like side chain routes, or maybe even a completely independent blockchain. We knew we needed scale. We needed low or zero, in our case, zero gas. And so that was critical for us. But we also really believe in the Ethereum ecosystem from a developer standpoint and from a sort of brain trust standpoint. And so being scalable and zero gas and everything else on our own platform, on our own protocol, without having to completely decouple ourselves from the biggest ecosystem and what we think is the best ecosystem long term is really important to us. So we're an Ethereum anchored ZK rollup L2 using Starkware. So that's the nature of the technology. And then if just a word about kind of what does the technology do? As you said, the marketplace is the consumer side that we launched. So we kind of have a B2C and a B2B offering. So the B2C was demonstrated by our first drop here, the Sigil collection that we did a giveaway for. And so users are able to come, and all they have to do is have a MetaMask wallet. And by signing in with their MetaMask wallet, they have a Myria wallet, which we developed, and they're able to trade seamlessly and instantly without gas cost at all on the Myria marketplace for the collections that are up there now, with loads coming from ourselves and partners in the coming days and weeks. And then on the B2B side, we have a set of SDKs and APIs which allow these 200 other studios and other projects to connect and offer their own mint, first of all, and then offer their own NFTs in a really simple to use way, without having to know anything really about smart contracts or cryptography or any of that. That's all obfuscated or abstracted away within the SDK and API. So if you know how to write backend code for a game, which you would if you're working for a game studio, then you know how to work with Myria, and that's really important for us.
That's phenomenal. And talk about the interest. Is this the interest that you guys figured this would garner? Are y'all getting more interest quicker than you would have expected? Obviously, tons of game studios coming to you guys, which is it's a testament to what they've seen and what you've shown them behind the scenes, the power of what you guys have built. So, are you guys surprised, or is this about expectation of what you guys expected?
I'd love to say we expected this, but it's surprising, honestly, how much we've grown so quickly. I mean, just to give you one stat, since we launched, we saw, so obviously, like, we're doing outreach efforts. We have a large BD team that's out there trying to make these deals happen. But just since we launched, we've had a 126% increase on inbound sales.
Wow.
Things happening, right? So that means just people reaching out to us out of the blue. They've heard about us.
Yeah.
They've probably worked with our API. In a lot of cases, we've heard that, hey, we played around with your docs, which are already out there. We hit your API a couple of times. It's super easy to download your SDK and use. Give us more. And like that was really the surprising part. We knew we'd be able to sell the vision when we were able to get in front of these studios and projects, but the number of studios that have just been able to come to our site and like use our stuff and reach out to us has been that part has been, I will admit, a little bit surprising, and we're really excited by it.
Yeah, for sure. And obviously eventually Myria Studios will have their flagship games, as we see here, with Meta Rush, Meta Kart, Block Royale, and Star Strike Legends. Moonville Farms also just went through a test, I believe, on the game.
They did.
And then awesome. That upcoming launch will probably be end of year this year or beginning of 2023, would you say?
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of the time frame.
Okay, cool.
We talk with that team, with that studio, fairly regularly, and they're pushing really hard, and so we'll hope to see that very, very soon. Yeah,
and obviously pretty cool. This is very unique on the platform. I'm not a cricket person. I don't know how privy you are to cricket, but I do.
Well,
I looked up the staple behind the game, and I was like, that was very impressive. I'm assuming their team also came to you guys wanting to build that game on Myria.
That's exactly how it happened, and it was the same thing for me. We're both Americans chatting here, and so cricket is not our notorious expertise, but AB is a serious legend in the cricket world, and also just an awesome person. I will say, I've now had the chance to work with him, and we did a Twitter space a couple months ago, and he's really, really top notch, and we're super excited about this game. And we unfortunately can't, as you might expect, say much more beyond that, but I will say that he is emblematic of a much larger trend which is happening in that world of sort of celebrity folks being very interested in what we're doing. So it says something when they're also hearing about it and excited to build their own games with us.
That's great to see. And then I know one thing, I'm asked this a lot just from interest on the side, and obviously with the whitelist node sale just occurred recently, but there will eventually be some sort of a public node sale, so people will have another opportunity at those, correct?
That's absolutely correct. Yeah, so the plan currently is wait and watch the market. We're sort of just like seeing what would be best for the community in terms of launch, but we're targeting currently Q4 or the very beginning of Q1 for public node sale. And the follow-up question there is when token, of course, and TG will coincide with the public node sale. So both of those we're aiming for the end of year. It could push off into early Q1, but that's the rough timeline, and we're really excited about this effort. We think it's going to help distinguish us amongst other NFT scaling solutions out there.
Yeah, absolutely. And guys, in the chat box, we are about 20 minutes in. Be sure to drop a couple questions for Myria in the chat, and we will get to those questions. We'll run through as many as we can here over the last few minutes of the show. But I kind of wanted to ask you, where are y'all looking to be in the future of obviously you want to be at the top. Are you likening to yourselves as like, y'all want to be the first runners of like a Riot Epic Games of Web3? Where do y'all want to assert yourselves in Web3 gaming if you had to like, I guess, what is the long-term vision for Myria as far as the broad scale?
Yeah, definitely. So we want to do a couple of things. Definitely, we want to be sort of the default provider for any Web2 studio that already has a bunch of games out there and wants to get connected to Web3. We want them to not have to think about it because it's so easy to build with Myria that's just what you do. If you've decided as a studio that you're going to do something on Web3, you do it with Myria. So that's the primary focus for sure. But then I will circle back to a point I mentioned earlier, which is that we also really do want to continue pushing the envelope with our customers and with our partners, which is to say that we want to be thought leaders in the space and work with our partners to do more than just sort of take what's existing on Web2 games and, okay,
Make
now
it
your
Web3.
skins are your skins are on the blockchain, and that's excellent because like your players have real ownership, and like that really is a huge stride, and we want like all in-game assets to be on Myria, registered in that way and owned in that way, but also like we want utility to be brought on chain. We want to really encourage these studios to engage in like better habits outside of just Web3, meaning interoperability, not just when it comes to the NFTs themselves, but maybe even pushing these studios to be better about when it comes to interoperability of characters or other things. And I've seen that in my other life when I was in the enterprise world for a little while, that like encouraging, like Web3 is awesome for its tech, but it's also awesome in how it's encouraging these incumbents who are often very they're not willing, generally the biggest players, banks, largest studios, et cetera, to sort of engage with and make a better experience for their users if it means collaborating with their competitors. That's not like their default position, but Web3 is really pushing them to do that, and we want to help drive that overall collaborative spirit that we're beginning to see emerge with even some of the most competitive studios out there. So
that's awesome.
So that's it. Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's a great answer. And what are some of the next things that the people can look forward to inside the ecosystem? That anything around the corner that you could get some people to, what would be the next thing to look forward to inside the Myria ecosystem for an outsider?
Yeah, definitely. Well, I would say one thing is look, of course, at the projects launching with us. So obviously a month hasn't given projects much time to actually integrate, but they're all doing it behind the scenes. And so keep an eye out for projects that are launching and stay engaged in that way. And then just continue to use the marketplace because we're releasing features every single day, basically, or just about sometimes, or at least internally, and you see them maybe every couple of weeks or so. But lots of features and product improvements just coming on the marketplace. And then obviously, as we've talked about, the nodes and the TGE are coming. So pay attention to that. And then last thing I would say is we're at 150 plus people already at Myria, and we want more. So we're hiring. And if you're really engaged with the community and you think you contribute, reach out to me directly or get in touch through our website. And like we're really serious about making this a larger thing than it already is, and really getting out there. So there are opportunities for everyone to get involved. So
that's fantastic. And like Web3, that's what Web3 is all about right there. That's how like sourcing some of the best talent, which has also, by the way, come over from the gaming, from the finance world. And they're coming over into this side and using their trade to be able to actually carve in this niche. And I love that. So I mean, that's really awesome to hear. And there's been no questions in the comments, which is usually, that is very rare, but we'll give it a couple more minutes to let some comments filter out here. But we will just kind of, I'll go through one last thing that I think is kind of important that you guys are doing. And well, actually, first, I know you're not privy to gaming. What game are you most excited about coming to the platform?
I am personally most excited about Meta Rush, I will say. Okay. That's been my sort of one that I've attached myself to for a long time. So yeah, we'll see. But yeah, that's mine.
We got someone says, but maybe I'm job. That's why no questions.
yeah. Oh yeah, look at that. Nice. Thank you very much. But maybe that's a little bit biased because obviously that's an internal studio game. So I'll have to
Yeah.
I'll have to choose a partner game soon. I mean, obviously, I'm very excited about Moonville Farms and in AB's game, and maybe I'll learn a little bit about cricket quite soon, and that will be both educational and amusing. That one.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to this one. I think the most Block Royale. It reminds me of like Fortnite. Looks really solid in my opinion.
Yeah, that
this
one
will be the
cool.
one. Yeah, this is the one I'm definitely most looking forward to. I think.
Awesome. Good.
And here, the industry question: Is play to earn dead?
No, I don't think play to earn is dead. I think there are potentially more. I don't want to say more engaging because like we have partners that are doing play to earn still, and it's a legitimate use case, and it's definitely driven the adoption that we want to see as an industry, right? So no, in short, play to earn is not dead, but I do just want to like continue reiterating the fact that we're aiming to go a lot beyond what is currently out there, and I think certainly play and earn is sort of how we've liked to coin the term now, is which is basically to say that like of course you're going to continue to play the game and earning will be part of it, but like we want to make with our partners as well, but Myria Studios also, like we want to make games so engaging that the earn aspect is sort of like a nice byproduct,
Yes.
rather than the game being play to earn, like you're only playing it to earn. Correct. I think that's like we want to get a little bit away from that, and so if like that's your definition, then like well, maybe that's dying potentially, but that's because we're producing games now with our partners that are so good that they're actually people out there that want to play them, and then as I said, earning is a nice byproduct and one that I'm sure a lot of players will appreciate, but not the reason they picked up the game in the first place.
Exactly. I would just say I think Gen 1 play to earn is dead. Like, right, that two token system, the way that the economic models were, I do think that is, but I would agree with you completely that this is only that's Gen 1, right? Everything goes through generations of tech and development. So that's kind of the way I would agree with everything you said, and then just add that on top. Good. And then a couple of people saying where to buy in. I would, if I remember correctly, wait for the next node sale and the TGE.
Yes, I wish I had a better answer for that, of course. But look, I think it's. I've always thought that it looks really good when a project builds and releases and sells an actual product before they start talking seriously about the token. That's always been sort of like
exactly.
We want to talk about red and green flags for a second. That's always been a green flag and sort of how I evaluate projects. So I think it's pretty awesome. And it shows also the dedication of the founders. Like we're self-funded. We haven't gone out yet for external capital, and so like we're seriously invested in this. And we weren't just going to launch a token and get everybody hyped about it and then say, "Oh, look, the token is out there," and now we can kind of just sit around. Like we've released an Ethereum ZK rollup in production first, and then like the token is coming. So it is coming, and as I said, we're aiming for the end of the year. But it's cool that we're able to release the product first.
And I like that. That's the mentality to go. Too many products just push a token in your face and they've never shown anything. And it's like, okay, well, like why should I buy it? Right. You know, at the end of the day. So that's great to hear. Are there games without guns? Yes. You know, I would safe to say there's the Mario Kart inspired, almost Meta Rush. The cricket game. I'm sure you could allude to that. I mean, yeah.
There are plenty. My favorite one, Meta Rush, there is not a gun game really. So plenty of good games with and without guns.
It's Fall Guys vibes right here.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, good social community game, which is always fun. You know, to be able to have some laughs when you're with your boys whenever they get smacked by the lollipop in the middle.
I've had some. That's why I'm excited for that, because Fall Guys especially is one that I've had that exact experience with the boys. So
it's a hilarious time.
And that then sounds awesome to me. Yeah.
So someone says Capcom partnership. I'd love to see 2D fighting games on Myria.
Yeah. myself as well. I will say that like my head has been down in the software for like the last like 5 or 6 months, and so I looked up and saw some of these partnerships in the same way that everybody else did, which is like, whoa, this is so awesome that they're there. So I can't say a lot more about that at this moment, but I will say that I would also love to see some 2D fighting games on Myria. So yeah, we hope that goes well.
Would you consider an airdrop to your users based on usage of your platform?
That's a good question. Would we consider it? Certainly. I won't.
Yeah, right.
Such a cop out answer, right? But no, I will say that that's a big part of why we've chosen to delay, not just because we wanted to prove that we're a legit project that's going to release real quality products first and foremost, which is the reason, but also because we wanted to get a legitimate community who are using our games, using our stack in a variety of ways, and then work with them to figure out how this token gets out there, right? So, like if that's something people would be really interested in seeing, get in our Discord and suggest it, and like that really will make its way to a ticket in our backlog somewhere that like we'll talk about that as a team and figure out if that's the way that we want to if we want to do that as our TGE. So yeah. Yes, we're considering it, and now, and by the way, now I'm considering it more that because you asked. That's how it works.
yeah. That was a question from Joe in the chat. So some great questions in the chat, and we're about 30 minutes in. I don't see any more questions. I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I think we filled up so much information in this half hour. I'm stoked to have like this show and like have you guys on. I've been since day one of the platform when it was like stealth launched. I was like, wow, this is something like this is potentially going to be one of the next biggest gaming ecosystems in all of blockchain gaming. And then just seeing basically 6 months later or so, about when did y'all stealth launch? Was it March, April, I think?
Yeah. That was
so about 5-6 months ago. And I mean, like the progress, the strides between then has been super impressive. Where can people follow Myria, follow yourself, and then, like join the Discord, etc.?
Yeah, so follow me on Twitter at Brendan Duhamel. I think it's in the show description there. Follow Myria on Twitter and join our Discord. That's really it. And just keep going back to that marketplace and see what awesome features we're putting out. If you're a trader or just someone interested in NFTs or a gamer, obviously, and then obviously if you're a builder, that's who we really want. And come to our developer solutions and just start poking around with the tools and give us feedback. We're really excited for it.
That's fantastic. This is the best question I think we've gotten. In the meantime, can it be confirmed Mr. Beast is advertising Myria?
I can neither confirm nor deny.
There it is. There's the best alpha of the show right there.
That's that is an awesome question. More will be said.
There we go. Okay. Yeah. All right. Miguel, TGE will be in the future. When will mobile be enabled? We'll do this the last question, guys. Last question.
I don't mind. I could keep answering.
Okay, but as long as you have time. If there's time and there's more questions coming in, okay, cool.
These are all awesome questions.
No, it's up to you.
No, mobile is a big focus of ours. We can't speak sort of in general terms. It's difficult as anyone who's worked in software to would know, like to speak on specific features. But mobile is obviously a mega market and one that we'll want to support going forward. And what's nice about the Ethereum L2 is just that like it's actually not technically all that difficult. It's just a matter of prioritization, because as long as we can get a wallet, an Ethereum address, which can sign over some data, then we're able to generate the Myria wallet, and you can use it from there. So it's not hugely technically difficult. It's just a matter of priorities.
Sweet. Yeah, no, that makes sense. And I think mobile, obviously, I would expect with everything you guys are doing that mobile will definitely be enabled in the future.
Yes, you can be assured of that. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Well, awesome, man. I don't see any other questions coming after that one at the moment. So we'll go ahead and just wrap it up there. I'm like so happy that you were able to join me. I know you're out in Singapore, you mentioned, so I'm in the States at the moment. So potentially a massive time difference there. So thank you for making the accommodation and coming on and, just sharing everything about the platform. I thought it was super valuable. And it's a show I've been wanting to do for a long time. So thank you so much.
Yeah, likewise. It's the show I've been wanting to get on. So thanks a lot for having me. It was awesome.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
we'll have to do it again too as the project evolves, of course. So
yeah, we definitely will. Let's do it.
Stoked for that. And guys, if you enjoyed the video, if you're bullish on Myria, be sure to like the video, subscribe to the channel down below, and for crypto videos here every single day, and hit the description if you want to get some more information on Myria. I'll be back on Monday with another show, guys. As always, play well, my friends.